Welcome to the Empowered Marriage Podcast. It is fantastic to have you on board. My name is Helen Harrison and I have a business called Power of Change Counselling and Coaching. So I'm a counsellor and I'm a relationship coach, and I talk everything around marriage and relationships. So I'm the host of this podcast and you are listening to podcast 73. This is a great podcast. I say this about every podcast, but this is particularly a good one. It's how to feel sexy and deserving of love. Now, why am I talking about this? So, this is a podcast I think that has needed to have been said quite a few podcasts before now. The reason being, as a counsellor, as a relationship coach, I work with many couples, and something that I see very often is a couple will come in and they'll both can begin to tell me that, and if you're listening to this because you've worked with me, I am not talking about you, I'm being very generalised here, but a couple will come in and where they've got to is, they were dating, they eventually got married, they had kids, bit of a mortgage, blah, blah. Get in the picture. Anyway, they're at a point now where their intimate relationship, their lovemaking, their sex is either totally disappeared, not happening that often, and it's creating a fair bit of issues in the relationship. So what I see happening is often it's the man pursuing the woman. He's feeling a fair bit of rejection and feeling tired of wanting sex, and he's with a partner who just isn't interested. She may be out of the perhaps toddler stage, the breastfeeding stage, or the children could be a bit bigger. But what's happening is the woman, her libido is flat as a pancake, not interested. And for the man, he's feeling pretty rejected and rather worried about what it's going to look like moving forward. So what happens when I have a couple like that presenting in my room is we begin to open it up. We begin to have discussions. And this isn't always the case, but what I see happening a fair bit is the woman, so the man's wanting sex and the woman isn't. So the woman, when we just pull all the layers back and as she begins exploring, she realizes that she's actually got really out of touch with her body. She's actually lost a lot of confidence. And I've had a number of women who just say, actually, I'm just not feeling sexy. And it's just not happening. So how on earth are you meant to feel turned on and tuned in and feeling that and to be able to be with your partner if you're not feeling that? That's where I'm trying to go with that. So the first place to start is to actually love your own body. You have to love yourself, love your body, feel turned on, tuned in, turned on. And I've grabbed that from, who is that? Abraham Hicks. She talks a lot about that. Is feeling that within yourself, because if you feel that within yourself, you're far more inclined to want to feel that with your partner. When your partner is wanting sex, you are going to want sex, or you may initiate it. So where do you even begin with that? If you're listening to this and you've realized, oh crap, she's talking to me. Well, I'm not actually talking to you, but if this is stirring something in you, then okay, perhaps I need to look at this. Because what I see happen for those couples who take their time to actually address this, by the time you do, your communication is just totally gone to the crap. You're not communicating. You're perhaps in different bedrooms. You're in different lounge rooms. You've got separate lives. You're like two boats passing in the night. There isn't much happening. So how do you feel sexy and deserving of love? And yes, women, I'm targeting you, because you've got to feel that within you first. And I'll do another podcast really targeting men. But for now, I'm targeting you women who That sounds like terrible English, doesn't it? I'm targeting you if you are just feeling disconnected from your body. You've disassociated. And what I mean by that is we live in the head up. And look, all of this, I am talking about this, I've lived this, so I know what I'm talking about, but also working with couples. I see it a lot in my room. So, where do you begin? As confronting as this sounds, a really, really great place to start is you stand in front of a mirror, ideally naked, and you do this daily, and you stand in front of that mirror. And you, every day you stand in front of it and you either speak it out or you write it down, and you write down all that you like and what you tolerate. And there'll be a part of you going, oh, I don't tolerate any of it. Well, I want you to begin. It could be as simple as I like my nose, or I like my, what's an example, nails, or I like my elbows. It doesn't really matter. But the whole idea is that you start to bring some light into this. You start to bring some softening. If you can't begin standing in front of a full mirror, start with a little handheld mirror every day. And you look into that mirror and it could be, I like my freckles, or I like my lips, or I like my earlobes. I don't care where you begin. The whole idea of this is that you begin softening how you are with yourself. You begin, what it is we just get so programmed to criticize ourselves. And then we look outside of ourselves and we get on Facebook and the mass media of how we're all meant to be and look and act. You know what? A lot of it's crap. It's about bringing it back and the relationship you have with yourself. So that is the first place to start. Even perhaps get yourself a piece of paper and tick every day for the next week, because it's breaking it down so it doesn't seem so overwhelming. So that's the first place to start. So secondly would be start listening to your body. When we get busy in life, when we've got stress going on, when we suffer with anxiety, we tend to not inhabit our bodies, and we live in the head up. And so I encourage you to start listening to your body. It could be you might start feeling a bit of an ache in your back, or perhaps you're feeling some pain in the gut from food you've been eating. Or what's another example? You might have a sore shoulder. But what happens is when we live in the head up and we don't inhabit our bodies, we don't listen to our bodies. And so I want you to start listening if you have any aches or pains, and just sort of start landing in your body. Look, for a very, very long time, I didn't inhabit my body. And I'm not going to tell you how long, a long time. And I lived in the head up. And I would totally ignore my body. You know, food allergies, when we don't listen to our body, it's noticing your body. So that's the first thing. And actually, I'm not going to get off track because that's what I do a lot of. But it often starts when we're very, very little. When we're not getting our needs met, we learn to shut down. We learn to live in the head up. We learn to numb down. We then bring in addictions to stay numb and to make us feel good. So whether it's shopping or alcohol or gambling or porn or whatever yours is, social media is a big one. And I see that a lot, people talking about social media. Anyway, going off track, I'm good at that. Let's keep bringing it back. How to feel sexy and deserving of love. So the first one is to listen to your body. Well, the first one is the mirror exercise. If you do anything, do the mirror exercise. Louise Hayes, I remember it was years and years ago, and she encouraged me to look into a mirror. I found it so confronting. So it's working up to it, because it's just, you've got to love your body. Because if you love your body, you're going to feel sexy. And then with that, you're going to love making love. And if you don't want to make love with your partner, then you've got to address that question, because you may not want to make love with that partner and you need to move on. But anyway, that's not what this podcast is about. This is about you, how to feel sexy and deserving of love. So listen to your body. The second is, I want you to notice when you criticize your body. You will be shocked when you begin actually noticing how often you criticize your body, how often you give yourself a hard time. You know, we've got this thinking mind, that monkey mind that likes to just have a conversation about absolutely everything and give ourselves a hard time. I want you to notice every time you criticize your physical appearance, in small ways, in large ways, and stop. Because the more that you can notice it and not give it breath time, air time, any sort of time, because if we stay on that momentum, we bring in another and another and another really negative thought. So it's catch yourself criticizing your body. That'll be another really big point. Okay, another way is how to feel sexy and deserving of love is move your gorgeous body. So it's like I've said, living in your head is extremely unhealthy, and it's about starting to move. And if you are not in a good place mentally, I want you to think back to a time when you were feeling good and what were you doing. And you may have to go back to like when you were 11 or when you were 18 or 22. But think of a time that you were in a good place and what were you doing? Were you in a sports team? Were you attending the gym? Were you stretching? Were you in a dance group? Were you gardening? It doesn't matter what you do, but it's about moving your body. Like I said earlier, we disassociate from our body, we numb down from our body, we become detached from our body. And if you want to feel sexy, well, you've got to get inside that body and you've got to begin feeling it and you've got to begin loving it. And so it's move that gorgeous body. And also, my next point would be touching your body. Now, for me, I used to find touch terribly confronting. I didn't enjoy touch and I found it very hard to touch. And if you're in that category, go back to what it was like when you were growing up. Did you receive a lot of affection? And I'm going to make the assumption that you didn't. So that's almost like your blueprint. You're used to not receiving a lot of affection. And so now as an adult, particularly if you haven't done any personal development, you are not going to like to receive touch. So, how to feel sexy and deserving of love? What's that song? Touch me. You got to begin touching yourself. And so begin with beautiful moisturizers, having beautiful baths, and just start massaging yourself. Begin actually touching your body, is having a relationship with your body. You know, it's leaving it up to your partner to have a relationship with your body when you don't even have one. That's archaic. It's actually having a relationship with yourself first. And so I'm just having a little look. So the physical manifestation of love is touch. So I remember years ago, I was seeing a counsellor and my homework was to go and have a massage. And I remember I had my first massage. Now, I am someone who never received touch growing up. I had lots of brothers and sisters and I'd receive it from them, but not from my parents. And so I went and had this first massage and I hated it. I was in massive anxiety through the whole thing. I couldn't relax. I had this foreign person touching my body. And it was so uncomfortable. And also I had my to-do list to do. And so I didn't have enough time to actually relax and to let go and to allow myself to actually enjoy that massage. And I remember at the time with the counsellor I was working with, she encouraged me to push through it. And so I did begin. And I made a vow to myself to begin having regular massages. Was it easy? No, it wasn't. And for a long time I would avoid it because also I couldn't turn off my mind. The monkey mind was going. I had too much to do. I felt guilt if I was actually giving myself any pleasure because I had to show my worth by doing. So if any of this is speaking to you, it's where do you even begin? So begin slowly, step by step. Our childhood is our blueprint. So if you do not like touch, that is the first place to begin. And so perhaps set yourself a goal of a monthly massage like I did. I have a massage every month now. I absolutely adore massages, but that has been many years of really conscious work to allow myself to have that and to enjoy it. So it's having a massage, but also massaging yourself. Another great way is beautiful oils or scents. It's creating a relationship with yourself. And for a lot of us, that's extremely confronting. Also, begin cuddling. I often hear from mums that they can cuddle their children but not their partner, and sometimes you can replace that cuddling with a child and not your partner. Long term, that isn't healthy, and it isn't healthy for your relationship. I'm really conscious of the time because I'm about to go into session, so I need to finish this up. So in wrapping this up, cuddling, giving your body what it needs. And affection is so important. So give that to yourself. So it's about tuning into your body, connecting with what your body needs moment by moment. And I know it sounds really simple, and I know for a fact that it isn't. So if you would like to feel sexy and you want to feel deserving of love, is perhaps take on one of these pointers. Even just begin with a little handheld mirror. Start there. And then over time, you could start doing little caressing with yourself, but being able to bring it back to yourself. Start with foundational steps. Because what is this going to do? Well, it's going to create a more empowered relationship, a more empowered marriage with your partner. But it's about communicating. And like I go on all the time about this, for relationships to go long term, it is that communication. So look, if any of this has spoken to you, go on to powerofchange.com.au. I'm in the midst of a new website, Helen Harrison website, so that's a little bit exciting, and venturing into the relationship coaching, which I'll tell you more about in future podcasts. But anyway, on that note, I hope you have enjoyed listening to the Empowered Marriage podcast, and really put the time and energy into what it takes to have an empowered marriage. It just doesn't happen. And so I really encourage you to really listen to yourself and share with your partner your wants and needs, and to be able to vocalize them and create that beautiful relationship that we all deserve. And, the power of change is within you. And I hope by listening to some of these podcasts that you will grab some different tools and strategies so that you can find that power of change within you and create the empowered marriage that you deserve and want. And so on that note, have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time on the next podcast. See ya.